If you've been scrolling through endless air purifier listings, weighing CADR numbers against price tags, and still feel that nagging doubt about which unit will actually make a difference in your living space, this review is here to clear that up. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I've spent the last few weeks swapping the older WINIX model in my own apartment for the new 5510, and I'm going to walk you through what that felt like day to day so you can decide whether it's worth your hard-earned money. First off, let's talk about the problem most of us are trying to solve. Indoor air that smells like the kitchen after a big dinner, or the lingering smoke after a neighbor's barbecue, or the constant sneeze trigger that comes from a pet's dander. The WINIX 5510 promises a true HEPA filter, a high-capacity carbon layer for odors, and an app that lets you see real-time air quality. Those are the headline claims, but what really matters is how they translate when the unit is sitting in a 500 square foot living room with a dog, a couple of smokers, and a kitchen that never seems to quiet down. One of the first practical things I noticed is the size of the room it can actually cover. The spec sheet says up to 1,881 feet in an hour, which sounds like a lot, but in my house the open plan layout means the purifier has to push air across a hallway and through a closed bedroom door. In the first couple of days, the built-in auto mode sensed higher particulate levels near the pet's sleeping nook and kicked the fan speed up automatically. The app confirmed the change with a green tick, and within 15 minutes the smell from the dog's bedding was noticeably reduced. That auto adjustment is a real convenience if you don't want to sit there fiddling with knobs every time you notice a whiff of something unpleasant. Now, who should buy this thing? If you live in a larger home, think 1,500 feet or more, have pets that shed, or you're sensitive to smoke or cooking odors, the 5510's larger coverage area and dual filter system give you a genuine advantage over smaller, bedroom-only units. The true HEPA filter is certified to catch particles down to 0.3 microns, which is the size range of most pollen, dust mites, and even some virus particles. That's the kind of protection people with mild asthma or seasonal allergies really feel. The carbon filter, on the other hand, does a solid job neutralizing VOCs from cleaning products or lingering cigarette smoke, something you'll notice if you've ever tried a cheap purifier that just pushes the smell around the room. If you're a renter who wants a unit that fits in a tight corner and you don't have a lot of square footage to cover, you might be better off with a compact model that's cheaper and easier to move. The 5510 is a 13-inch tall slab that needs a bit of floor space, and while it's not the bulkiest appliance on the market, it's definitely not a tabletop gadget you can slide onto a nightstand. Also, if you're primarily looking for a device to run on a low budget and you don't have pets or strong odors to combat, you'll probably find the price a stretch for the incremental benefit over a basic HEPA filter. Speaking of price, the value proposition really comes from the combination of coverage and the app ecosystem. The WINIX app lets you set a schedule, monitor filter life, and even run a sleep mode that dims the LED display and runs the fan at a whisper-quiet speed. In real-world usage, that matters. I was able to leave the unit on overnight while the kids slept, and the gentle hum was barely audible. When the filter indicator finally lit up after about 8 weeks of continuous use, the app gave a precise replacement estimate, so there's no guesswork about when to order a new cartridge. That transparency eliminates the hidden cost of forgot to change the filter that you see with some other brands. On the downside, the carbon filter does need replacement more often if you have a smoker in the house. In my test scenario, after 3 weeks of daily barbecues on the balcony, the carbon layer was noticeably saturated, and the app started showing a slower reduction in odor levels. That's not a design flaw, it's simply how activated carbon works, but it does mean you'll be buying replacements a bit sooner than you might with a unit aimed at dustinly environments. Another practical hiccup is the initial setup of the Wi-Fi connection. The unit tries to pair during the first power on, and if your router is on a 5 GHz band, it can take a few extra minutes of patience. Once it's linked, though, it stays solid. What about noise? In the high-speed turbo setting, the fan can get loud enough to compete with a TV at full volume, which is fine if you're using it while you're out or during a cleaning spree, but not ideal for a quiet movie night.